Bournemouth are exciting to watch. We are full of flair. It's end to end. Look, sometimes there's last ditch defending, but we are getting up the pitch and creating chances. No one can argue that Iraola ball isn't exciting to watch. It is exhilarating, but of late, we've been struggling to hit the back of the net. Our XG stats suggest we certainly should be scoring more than we are. What's the problem? We need to talk about it. Welcome to Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And look, whether you are watching on YouTube or you're listening on the pod, thanks so much for being here. And it's not just us here, it's you guys as well, because on social media, we've been asking you to submit your unpopular opinions, your burning questions, your rants and your raves. So myself and Tom will go through as many as we can. And Tom, we have got a problem hitting the back of the net, haven't we? We're creating so many chances.
We are, mate. I think it was a Liverpool and then obviously Leicester. So back-to-back away games where we haven't scored, but we've created nearly 40. I think it was 36 shots. So yeah, we'll have to get into that a little bit because obviously there's many positives you can take from that, but then there's also some issues as well, I guess. But yeah, listen, like you said at the start, mate, it's exciting to watch. I'm enjoying it, but just need to start hitting the ball in the net, which is the hardest thing to do in football. So yeah, if we can get on top of that, then I'm sure we'll be fine.
So how do we unlock Evan Nilsson's strength? Is Unal the right answer for a backup? Are we expecting too much too soon? What's next for Phil Bill? Those are just some of the questions that have been submitted. And look, we talk about the XG stat, and it's only a stat that ever becomes relevant when you're not picking up 3 points, isn't it? Because you're looking at how many chances that you're creating. Fair enough if your XG stat mirrors the goals scored or whatever. If you're not creating chances, then of course you're not going to win games. But we really are creating chances, and we're doing it on a regular basis as well, which then means the attention is turned from, oh yeah, it's brilliant, look, we're creating chances, but now we're not taking the chances.
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. And it does feel like I think I said it to you after the game, it feels like at the moment we're also in that place where, you know, the Leicester game was a prime example where it feels like we make like one bad decision and they score. And then like the Liverpool game, there wasn't much in that game. Suddenly they get 3 chances for 3-0 up. And that's the difference, isn't it? And that is quality. And that's probably where Leicester will be looking at that game in particular, because you could argue that Southampton are similar, create a fair amount, keep the ball, but they're not ruthless. And Leicester will probably be looking at it going, actually, we might not be as good, but at least we're taking them. You know, we had one chance, we took it. So yeah, it's something we need to improve on, mate. But as you said, it's far better to watch. And I always feel like we would literally be saying, if it was the reverse, we'd be going, well, we don't create anything. We were doing that not long ago. So yeah, we need to turn them into go. And are we really surprised we lost our goal scorer? We literally lost our best goal scorer, so of course it was
very true. And conversations need to be had about his replacement. Bournemouth against Leicester, we created 15 chances, 3 of them being deemed big chances. Leicester created 5 chances, 2 of them big. It is worrying when we're not scoring, but look, maybe it's just a little blip. The XG map, as you can see, compares the whole of the game. The first half, it was fairly even, but as the game wore on, I mean, we saw that second half, right? Whether you listened to it on the radio, you saw a dodgy stream, or you were there, you'll have known that, well, we did put the ball in the back of the net. We did, of course, suffer with the offside decision, and then we also hit the post twice as well. We should have notched, we didn't. So look, is it just unlucky, or is there more to be worried about? Andoni Iraola in his post-match presser interview said you need to score those chances, so he knows it as well. But Tom, we're not throwing all our toys out of the pram just yet, though, because there are some really good signs. I think we out-footballed them, if that's any consolation. Doesn't earn you any points, but just in that final third, it was either, you know, overplaying it, not making the right decision, a load of air shots at times. It just was one of the games where it just didn't quite click.
Yeah, it was just, particularly in the second half, as you said, it was just one of them games where, we made the wrong decisions probably at the wrong times. I think I said to you then, where we were sat, well, I can't remember. I was literally stood like that because I had to look on that side of the pitch the whole second half.
Constant neck ache.
Yeah, it was, we were all over him, mate. And I think if we had nicked one, or say, for argument's sake, the Lewis Cook one stands, we still would have been annoyed after the game we didn't win it. But yeah, it is what it is. It's something that we all know we need to improve on. And Andoni knows that. I mean, Andoni literally every week, every time you hear him now, it's just, we need to take our chances. Tyler Adams will be back soon. That's it, isn't it? That's all you hear now, because it's consistent, it's good, and I like the fact that we're creating so many chances, and it shows that it's obviously working. And you get it right, when you score 3 goals in 10 minutes, like you did at Everton. You know, it's just finishing them off. We'll get there.
We will get there. So AFC Bournemouth are second so far this season in the Premier League with the most shots, 6th place in terms of shots on target, and we are top with shots hitting the woodwork as well. So look, and it is exciting to watch. But look, there was this conversation in the pub beforehand. Most of us were at the Counting House. We were doing our preview, and it's a weird old mix of being confident, because you should be, because you are creating chances. You are off the back of a 3-1 fierce rivalry win against our nearest and dearest. We had a lot of optimism, and rightly so, I think, playing a team that had conceded the most shots this season as well. But one of the forum posts that I read post-match was, reality is we just lost to one of the worst sides in the league. But is that the reality? Because as poor as we saw they were, and even that 90 minutes, we can probably say they were, and it sounds like sour grapes.
No, that's not
I think they were perhaps not as poor as Southampton, but one thing you can say about Leicester is they stay in games. And look, they were 2-0 up at Palace, late capitulation there. 1-1 against Spurs was, something to shout about, and also they scored 2 more goals at the Emirates than we probably will when we go there. So they're a team that have been in games, and if they stay in games, there's a chance. And that's, that's something that obviously Steve Cooper's instilled into the side. And credit to him.
I remember us doing the preview, and I was saying you can spin like them, their points total, their results going, they've drew half the games. Like they've been in, games. And listen, I personally would probably want them to stay up, because there's definitely 3 teams I'd rather go down, quite like the away day as well, in general. But I don't know, off the back of that game, it's weird because we've lost it, and obviously we were hopeful and expecting that we wouldn't. Would I put much money on Leicester staying up? Probably not. I think they'll be there right till the end. But they could do, because I think Cooper, and they showed once you get a lead, they got something they can hang on to. I thought on the day, actually, I thought defensively they were pretty sound. We know the goalkeepers had a few good games this season, so they've got something in there. But they'll definitely be scrapping, but they know that. And they've got a manager that you've got to remember has been in scraps before. I think the post itself saying that, we lost to one of the worst teams in the league. Well, if you think that's factual, then that's fine. I think we drew at home to Sheffield United last season. They were definitely the worst team in the league. The season before with O'Neill, we lost to Southampton at home, who were absolutely terrible. Both of them teams, by the way, were worse than this Leicester team. We had good seasons in the end. So, it's what it is. We do normally lose to a team that goes down. That's not great for Leicester fans. But you're not going to, you can't just beat everyone that you think you're going to beat and lose. And we do also, which we need to talk about now, is we always get a little surprise result every season. And we need to in the next 3, and who knows? We might.
Yeah, that's right. So the league table has Leicester in 15th. We are only 2 points above them. It's feasible with them travelling to Southampton next that they could actually leapfrog us, given that we've got Arsenal.
You'd probably expect that.
We're not trying to be pessimistic about our own chances of beating the Gunners, but history tells you that it's not always an easy one.
Just realised we'd been above everyone, rightly so, and they got a good point against Chelsea. It's saying how good Forest have been this season, how good Brentford have been this season, how good, and then you obviously got Tottenham. We'd have been 9th if we had won that game.
Yeah, exactly. Which maybe shows you the kind of fine margins that we're looking at within games. At the bottom of the league is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Gary O'Neill has gained only 5 points from his last 66 available, which
tough
is
fixtures.
Tough
fixtures.
Indeed.
But have you heard one pundit or media outlet saying he should go? I haven't.
No, I haven't.
It's outrageous. It does my head in. Just quickly go. You hear it on Match of the Day and things like that, Sky stuff. They go,
it's English.
They lose again, and they go, feel for Gary. What? They weren't saying feel for Andoni at the start of last season. It doesn't matter. And then who's the other one that always gets no, I think he's playing good football. Russell Martin. Does my head in. But anyway, you could play crap football and be on 1 point, or play good football and be on, what are we on? 8?
8 points.
I know,
8 points. And so, lovely pre-match drive up to Leicester. Traffic's always good on a Saturday. On a Friday, apparently, it was awful. It always is on a Friday.
Yeah, it does.
Don't know what it is. People lose their heads knowing the weekend's ahead. There's crashes, there's queues, there's all sorts of things going on. So, lovely drive up. Went to the Counting House pre-match, and it's weird. It feels like we're only there for a couple of minutes and then team news is out. I know it's only 15 minutes difference compared to last season, but it seems to be early on in our match day. So we're poring over our phones, looking at the team, and I was quite happy with what I saw, to be honest, Tom.
Yeah, well, obviously we changed from the Southampton game. We made the change of bringing Clive back in. Obviously, we went for Tav in that kind of 10 role, didn't we?
Yeah.
Last game. We brought Clive back in, moved Tav out wide and took Danga, which I did expect. I thought maybe we were talking about the Araujo plays away from home. I thought that might be the case, but it wasn't. But yeah, I was relatively pleased with it, to be honest. Didn't expect too much difference. And as for them, I kind of, was close. I actually thought they went a little bit more, offensively minded by taking out Winks, and bringing Ayew in and playing Buonanotte in there, and they had Mavididi out there, and only really skipping Ndidi. So Ndidi was then withdrawn a little bit from his role, but in general, I think both teams were it wasn't too many surprises in there. The weird part at the moment is I always think, just 1 week it's James Hill on the bench, and the next week is Aarons. I don't really, but never Billing. Which is surprising because he actually come on in the last game he was in the squad for, which was Chelsea. But yeah, not too many surprises, mate, and I was more than happy with it.
So the first half started, and we started really well, and we'll talk about sort of XG throughout. And for this half, actually, Leicester excelled. They superseded AFC Bournemouth with an XG of 0.76 versus 0.61. The first chance of note that I can remember was Senesi at the far stick. Free kick coming in. A lot of our chances, by the way, coming from free kicks. Not so good from corners. I think it's 45 or 46 we've taken without any real success. But free kick floated over, got a little bit of a flick. Senesi at the far stick. Would it have counted anyway?
Well, I looked at the time, I thought that was offside anyway. But I've looked at it back, I don't think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think it was.
Well, I think he should have done better at the far stick, though.
And I would kind of want him there. He's good at them, isn't he?
He's done it in pre-season.
Yeah, he's done it loads of times. So,
he's done it loads of times. Crystal Palace away, like, always at the far stick.
Yeah, Newcastle I can remember as well. But yeah, wasn't to be. But yeah, that was, you kind of thought, right, we'll stick to this. It will come. And I think they had a shot from distance, didn't they?
Yeah, Buonanotte. But you know what? What worried me from that, he started from the right and then he just paraded through the midfield. And as Abby Markham asks, why is it so easy to play through our midfield? Because they only did it a couple of times. But when they did it, they really gave Kepa and gave our defence some problems.
I think you're always going to be open in the midfield with the way we play.
Is that just part and parcel of Iraola?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's just what we have to expect, and that's it.
I think so, a little bit. I mean, maybe the profile of player might help it a little bit. Tyler Adams, for example, might be a little bit more. Have a little bit more nous in terms of that defensive mindset rather than a Christie. But listen, Iraola tells his striker, his two wide men, his number 10, Christie, to all just push up the pitch and be, of course there's going to be a gap, and that's the gamble you take, but that's why we create so much as well, because we've got so many people up the pitch.
Well, that's what Jay asks. I mean, does Adams go straight in when he's fit? Because currently it does look so open, or not the case for you?
I don't think he goes straight in, for sure. I mean, people have obviously seen him at different clubs. I haven't seen enough from Tyler Adams to think he goes straight in. I think it's good to know we've got the option. I actually think an option that might be good is Cook, Adams and Christie in the 10. And I know Christie, everyone will go, well, he doesn't score, he doesn't assist. Clive isn't at the moment anyway. I just think, can you imagine Christie higher doing the press? He's so good at it. How many times would he nick it off players and we'd be in on goal? Rather than nicking it off players and we're just into their half. So I think that could be an option as well. But obviously getting someone like Tyler Adams available gives us more options, and it might mean that we're not so open. But I do think in general we'll always be a little bit open.
One of the things that Jay asked then, which I think is also quite a pivotal conversation, is does Andoni need to change his approach against teams that are happy for us to keep the ball? Because we struggled to break them down. Indeed, in the preview, I think we mentioned that they're a side that don't like to have the ball, and we don't really either. I mean, our stats for most of the games this season where we've been successful, we haven't had a lot of the ball. This was a game where we did have most of the ball, and it was all right when we had it, but really, just in that final third, we seemed to break down. Is there another approach that we need to maybe deploy?
I think it's I appreciate what's being said there, but I think we struggle to break them. I don't think we do struggle to break them down because we have all the chances. So that's not struggling to break them down. That's struggling to put the ball in the net, innit?
Yeah.
We are creating. If struggling to break them down, in my opinion, is you just can't get in, you've got no shots, they just stop it before it happens. That's not the case. The end product, whether that final ball or the shot itself, isn't good enough. But I wouldn't say that's struggling to break teams down, because if you're, for example, you're going to Anfield and you're having blooming nearly 20 shots, you're breaking them down, you're not finishing. Maybe we can make the chances that we're creating better, potentially, but I think it was even right, obviously we'll come on to it, I'm sure, but even right, it felt near the end of the game. Semenyo had a great chance, and he was in.
I'm surprised that Match of the Day didn't show that, by the way.
So we're in. So we've broken down again. We just haven't finished them, unfortunately. And you can look at certain parts of the games, and I think, were we that much better against Southampton than we were Leicester? Not in my opinion.
No.
We just had 3 chances, went bang, 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 they all went in. So yeah, it's just one of them things at the moment that we need people to start taking the chances. It's not just Evan Nilsson that we'll get onto, but I briefly mentioned it there. Clive scored a lot last season. He hasn't scored yet. We know Semenyo's delivering most of the time. Dango still hasn't scored enough goals, in my opinion. Tav doesn't score enough goals, in my opinion. So Christie never scores. So, a lot of errors there. And we even talk about people like Senesi, what does pitch in normally from the back. So we need a bit more.
Well, you mentioned Senesi. It was him and Kirkes that conspired together to let Buonanotte in. It was a quick ball that released him, and then he turned Senesi inside out. Quick feet, by the way.
Very good.
But I just wonder if Senesi should have showed him the goal line a little bit more than he did, because he made it easy for him to cut on his left. On the vlog, you're constantly saying he's going to hit it on his left, he's going to put it on his left, put it on his left, and that's what he did. And then a shot hit so fast with such power that it gave Kepa no chance. So we'll talk about Senesi, but I'll bring in what Ashley says on one of his tweets here. Kirkes, for all his effort and improvement, is defensively weak and has no end product. Is he really our best player in that position? I think he's been all right this season.
He was our best player in that position because he's the only left back we got. I think it's typical in it. I think recently we've actually been saying he's improved a lot defensively, and it was typical that I actually think I agree with you. I think Senesi should do more once it gets to that point, but it should be stopped at source by Milos Kirkes. I think he jumps in, and then Buonanotte's on his own.
I think our fullbacks are always going to be susceptible because of the way that we like to push. So the way he took the quick throw just took Kirkes out of the game. Andoni's asking a lot of them, and I think he knows that that's probably going to be the byproduct of some of the tactics he's training them. Yeah,
no, definitely. I think you never know. It remains to be seen if he suddenly thinks I need to be defensive. I don't agree, because I think that Andoni will just keep to his principles and go stuff it if we lose 5-0 or Arsenal we lose 5-0. There is a case of put to go, if you want to be really solid, Houghton's played there. We used to look at Kelly.
Yeah.
Do you put but then I think sometimes he plays Smith there because he knows how much Kirkes gets on. So Smithy kind of stays a little bit deeper, doesn't he? But yeah, it's something to look at. Kirkes certainly didn't have a good game, but I think in general, I think we've seen improvements with Kirkes. Probably agree with the latter point that actually when he does get forward, does he get enough assists? Because that final ball's not always, and we used to say that about Dango last season, but I remember particularly Everton, Dango kind of come on at left back and he actually put a really good ball in. So yeah, maybe he can look at that a little bit.
The Leicester crowd, I've got to say, they were quite quiet, really.
They're normally quite good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're usually all right. I mean, they had their clackers out, so they were trying to make some noise, but the goal was what they needed, because it sort of, they were a bit restless, and then they got fired up a little bit.
Something to hang on to then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it inspired the team a little bit. I mean, it arguably could have been 2-0 with Vardy going for a goal. It was a weird shot. He's almost like he mishit it. Really, he should have at least hit on target. It didn't, and it just went wide. It trickled wide, really. But between that, we were having chances ourselves. I remember some kind of corner routine that saw Tav air shoot it. He tried to hit it with his right and just completely lost his footing completely. I thought Semenyo was having a lot of the ball, but it was almost like it's a player that... It sounds harsh, but believes his own hype a little bit by taking on too much. It reminded me a little bit of Eze when he holds on to it for a little bit too long. But in a way, he trusts himself, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But
and you still got to keep him on because he's so good. He had a bad game though, yeah.
He overplayed it at times, held on to it a bit too long. Sometimes there was the easier ball. But when you're in that kind of vein of confidence, I can't really blame him for trying to be the main man.
And I think I'd always rather a player to be kind of brave and a bit arrogant like that than be safe. And there were definitely times where he should have used a different option, but there was loads of times like that for other players. It was just, I think it's more alarming when it's Semenyo because we know how good he's been this season. So when he has an off day, it looks really obvious and really evident. And he was poor on the day, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So first half sort of came and went really, and all of the chats that we had, I chatted to you, chatted to Mark, obviously I chatted to a lot of people off camera as well. And a lot of very disappointed, obviously, very frustrated, but because it's Andoni ball, we know we're going to get back into it. So a lot of us were still fairly optimistic for the second half. And Bournemouth played like a team that wanted to put right the wrongs. And, you know, apart from putting the ball in the back of the net, they did. And again, going to come back to the XG map. The final XG was AFC Bournemouth 2.16, Leicester 0.79. Understat was also another XG source, the first one being Opta. They had it at 1.95 versus 0.91. So on a different day, AFC Bournemouth could have won it comfortably. Now, one of the changes that he did make at half-time was Justin Cliver being taken off for Dango Ouattara, which I could understand that.
Yeah, I kind of expected that one. I think it's, I said it on the fan cams, I think that's always the go-to one, isn't it? I don't know if it's because, I don't know what, I think it's just, it makes some sense, I guess. I think everyone expected, I think he needed to get Dango on for his energy, and he's doing well this season, and I thought he could help us. And then maybe because Tav goes inside, it maybe makes them think a little bit more. They've moved around again. But yeah, I kind of expected that one, to be honest with you. And yeah, I don't think it didn't make us any worse doing that. But unfortunately, because Dango's been electric off the bench this season at times, it didn't quite happen for him in this game, unfortunately. So he kind of had one of his ones that he maybe would have done last season. But it was the sub I probably would have made.
And we peppered them. Look at the attacking momentum. People on watch on YouTube can see this. We absolutely battered them. And I think you may have just caught this as you returned from your halftime beverage. Zabani hitting the post. I mean, it hit the outside of the post, but it was a cooked free kick. Again, another free kick where we're posing a threat. And Zabani, firstly, nice to see him getting up there, because he's not usually...
It's normally Sanasi from the centre half.
He's not posing a threat, but he got his head on it. And and then shortly after that, the ball was played forward to Christie. Nice little pirouette. And then he manufactured a chance where he placed it. He's a player that likes to place his shots. He rarely just smacks them. It's always got some precision. Even that one against Southampton had a bit of precision to it that just whistled wide of the post. But that one, good save wide by the keeper. And it was like Leicester weren't really getting out of their own half a lot. And I think the heat maps, as you can see on screen as well, demonstrate that a lot. Camped in their own half, a little bit like Southampton were, but we huffed and puffed, but couldn't blow their house down, mate. We really couldn't.
Yeah, it looked like it felt like, because that was so early in the second half as well, it felt like it's coming. I think Leicester fans would have gone, it's going to come in a minute. But obviously that wasn't the way it transpired. But yeah, we come out the second half and it was a bit of a attack v defence type game, wasn't it? And yeah, we just weren't finishing. We obviously made more changes quite quickly. Actually, it was only just after the hour mark, and he went for a couple. He took both fullbacks off and went for Scott and City. And I saw Andoni ball, Cookie at right back, Dango at left back. Let's do this. I enjoy it, mate. It was good, and I think shows the trust he has in Lewis Cook. Just you got Araujo on the bench. You've got a right back. Yeah. He has to keep him on the pitch because of how good he is. But yeah, they were decent subs. I quite like them subs as well. And I actually, because we probably won't get onto it too much, but I actually thought, even though it didn't transpire into anything, I thought Alex Scott was very good when he came on.
Yeah, I thought so.
There was a little kind of touch map and that circulating on social media of him when he come on, and he rarely lost the ball. He used it really well. He's the one that plays that pass in for Semenyo right at the end. And I think that's proven what a lot of us have said, in the fact that when he replaces Christie and tries to do that role, we look worse. But because Cook went a right back, he was doing the Cook role more and getting the ball and trying to play it. He's good at that. He's not Lewis Cook, unfortunately, but he is better in that role. So that was a clever one, rather than just going Scott for Christie. I thought that helped us a little bit, and we were on the ball even more. And I think Andoni looked at it and went, as you mentioned previously, a lot of the time we don't want the ball. We play quick transitions. He noticed that they're just sitting back and we're going to have all the ball. Yeah. Scott's good when we have all the ball.
Yeah, true.
So that I did think that helped us a little bit.
I think Sinisterra really has asked the questions to Andoni about maybe starting the next game, because
the problem with all these players, they start and they're not very good.
Yeah, I know that's the problem. I'm sure we'll get on to what people say about Cine later on. But it was him that created the free kick. He was in on goal, haul down, and then Lewis Cook stands behind it and floats in a lot. And what did I say on the vlog? I didn't capture this bit on camera.
Oh, didn't you?
But I said,
"You said this guy did," and I went, "You're an idiot." And then it went in, and I was like, "Oh my god, how did you call that?" And we went mental for ages, and the flag was up, wasn't it?
Yeah, so look, Evan Nilsson, whether he got a touch on it, it didn't look like he did. It may have just brushed past his hair. But either way, I think because he was offside and he would have affected the decision-making of the goalkeeper, it would have had to be flagged as offside.
Yeah.
One of the things that annoys me, the fact he was offside anyway. I know he's trying to do that cool thing. Was it Thierry Henry that started this thing?
Oh, stand offside and come back.
Stand offside and then float back in.
It wasn't close though.
I know it's cool to do, but really, like, defenders know he's coming back. Is it really worth it? But one thing that really annoyed me, we got a screen grab. This is 2 seconds after the ball hit the back of the net. Where's the flag?
No, it's still not up yet.
Why is it so late?
They always do this now.
Yeah, but even after it hit the back of the net, players are off wheeling away celebrating.
I know, they just do this now, Sam. I don't know. Do you really going to talk to me about like officiating and the laws of the game and that now?
Are they computing it in their head thinking, actually,
they're all dicks.
I mean, he was right, but for us, it was weird, and I've emphasised this, that it was a weird moment because some Bournemouth fans took longer than, I think I had about 10 seconds of joy before you said Sam was offside. I think there were others to my right who were still celebrating. So we had Bournemouth fans celebrating at the same time Leicester fans were the whole stadium was celebrating.
Yeah.
And then this kind of ripple of disappointment reverberated from the centre of the Cherries contingent. And then we all realised that indeed it was off. There was some hope with VAR, but alas, I think it got ruled out pretty quickly, and rightly so.
Yeah, it's quite hard for us to exactly see it, and obviously at the time I was thinking, maybe it's because Evan Nilsson did get a touch, but they'll go to VAR and maybe he didn't, but that wasn't the case anyway because of his positioning. But yeah, I want that disallowed if it's against our side, so you can't moan about it too much. Just annoying because it was a really well taken free kick from Lewis, and I remember looking at the clock at the time and thinking, it's not that late.
No,
and I wouldn't have taken a point. You know what I mean? I thought we can go and win it now, but yeah, it was a real shame.
It was. So I suppose conversations will turn to Evan Nilsson, who had 18 touches in the game as a whole, and a lot of people are looking at our £40 million man as maybe being underwhelming at the moment. I know he got off the mark against Southampton, some brilliant link-up play as well. But
it's like October the 7th.
Well, look, Richard Jackson tweeted and said, we're trying to fill a Solanke-sized hole in our attack at the moment. Neither Evan Nilsson nor Unal appear to be the type of player who can directly fill that hole, although they may offer something different in time. So what we need to do is finish off the chances that we are creating. Yes, fair point. But there are other people that are sort of arguing that there are Solanke and Evan Nilsson comparisons. Now, Solanke took a long time to bed in, but can you maybe say with Solanke that he was never the main man? Evan Nilsson's twice the price of him, and he is the main man, and he's not hit the ground running. Come on, dig Evan Nilsson out for me.
It's not his fault how much he bloody cost, and there was a long time where I remember when Eddie Howe went to Newcastle and they were going, yeah, but look at him in the window. He bought bloody Solanke for over 20 million. You know, it does take a lot of time. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a great comparison because Solanke come in when he was behind Callum Wilson and Josh King.
But one thing we can say that even when Solanke was the main man in the Championship for the first season, even that season, he wasn't as brilliant as what he was, of course, in the second season where he scored, 30 goals, 29 in the Championship and also one in the Cup competition. So he took a long time to get going. Even in the first season in the Premier League, he didn't exactly chip in with loads of goals. I think it was maybe 7 he scored.
At most. It might have been less.
Most. It could have been less than that. 4, I can't remember. Between 4 and 7 anyway.
But yeah, I looked. It was actually Adrian on Twitter X. And I thought that's a good point as well. So you can go off, all right, just go to last season then. Because Dom had an unbelievable season. He was our main man. He was well settled in. He was our main man. And after 11 games, how many we had now? Games? We haven't had that many, but 8, okay.
Well, no, 8 points, 7 games.
Okay, well, we had 11, after 11 games, we were on 6 points, and Solanke had 4 goals. And he had an unbelievable season. And that was a longer time. He'd only have 4. Like, let's calm down a little bit. I think he looks all right. I remember saying, I can't remember if it was when he actually left or when we were talking about it looked like he was leaving on one of our shows about Dom. And I remember saying, almost word for word, whoever we let's hope we do the right thing and get a good striker. We cannot replace Dom Solanke.
Yeah.
And I think people just thought, well, we'll just get a striker just as good. And he might be just good, but Dom Solanke was so good. I think it was underrated how good he was for everything, not just the goals. And yeah, it's going to take a bit of time.
And this is a guy that's adjusting to, he hasn't played in the Premier League before. Dom Solanke has got so much experience in British football.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, as well. And this guy's getting used to the physicality. He doesn't even speak English properly as well, let's forget. So, let's not forget. So there is going to be a bit of time to bed in. And I can't believe we're having these conversations this early.
He won't,
even when he has notched.
I mean, I don't expect him to get close to Dom's 20-odd goals last. Like, do you know what I mean? I think if he can get like double figures or something, but I think he's he looks. I think one of his weaker games probably, but I think in general, I think he's looked alright. He's looked decent. I think as a player there, definitely. But yeah, it's just he ain't finished chances. I think we probably wouldn't be talking about it as much if some of the others pitched in. But it all goes. You obviously got to look at the attacking side of it when you're not scoring goals and you're missing chances. But apart from Semenyo, Clive needs to pitch in more. Tav needs to pitch in more. Dango needs to pitch. They all need to pitch in more. But yes, he is the front man. He is the main man, and hopefully it will come for him. But I think it's very, very early to kind of write him off. I don't think people are writing him off. I think people are just saying, is it a bit concerning? Did I expect him to have more goals? Maybe, but he's got one goal. I'll probably expect him to have about 3 at this point, maybe. But it'll happen. It'll happen. It's just I think it's more the fact that it's like against. I think people are looking at the next 3 fixtures in a lot of this and going, well, we've got to write off the next 3. So this is a conversation now for a lot. But let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's wait and see. And look,
you don't get called up from Brazil.
No,
which he has done on previous occasions if you're not very good. I don't think, I've said this a few times, and obviously he's back now, which is good, because I don't think it's helped that we haven't been able to have Unal push him because he hasn't been fit. I think now that he's fit, that'll help, and you might even see some games where he puts them both up there together. I know it was only for a short amount of time because he then brought Brooksy on, which was great to see, by the way. But yeah, I don't think that's... that might help when he's got another striker that he can bounce off potentially, and also know, okay, who now can come in if I'm not. Yeah. So we'll see.
Sinisterra was, again, dynamite on the left, teasing a cross in for Dango. Hit the bar. I think he mistimed his jump. He jumped too early, so he's kind of heading the ball on the way down a little bit, so he couldn't get his body over it, so to speak. I know it's difficult when you're heading a ball, but he couldn't really generate the neck muscles to head it down. So that was the best he could do. We had more chances. Brooks, as you allude to, came on, put one over for Unal, who put it over the bar, which was a better chance than I could ever have imagined, actually, through watching the highlights. Side-footed it over the bar, and this brings me on to a tweet from Liam, who says, is Unal the right answer for a backup for Evan Nilsson? I mean, is he a backup, or can he also support as well? I mean,
maybe. I think
it's a dual role for him, really, isn't it?
I honestly, I'm still it feels like he's been here for a while now. I don't know yet.
It's weird, isn't it?
He's had injuries. Obviously, last season he was brought in as a backup for Dom. And he come on and he changed some games. Who did he? I know he got the one against Brighton, but I remember he come on against Sheffield United.
He scored against them.
Yeah, and I think Dango got the other one. It was all the subs changed there. We were 2-0 down, but he did affect things. I think it went down as an own goal, but against Chelsea. And there's a player there, in my opinion, but I still haven't seen enough to know how good he is, to be honest, because of the injury concerns. But again, he was a player that we got in knowing that he had a bit of an injury record. So I have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I wouldn't suddenly go, no, he ain't good enough. I wouldn't be doing that yet. From what I've seen, I think these two is more than enough.
He had a chance. Semenyo had a chance that was arguably better, and as I say, Match of the Day didn't show that. As we look at the shots chalkboard here, we can see that. Look at that, 19 to Leicester City 6. But how many did we really test the keeper with? And when you think about it.
That's the worry.
When do you remember their keeper being overly worked?
That's the worry. I think both keepers could have been at home, to be honest. But yeah, I think the Dango one that you briefly mentioned was, it's tough to go, you want to score that, but it is difficult. What I like again is it's the same at Everton as Cine, getting a good ball in. He done it for Lewis Cook. Yeah. And to be honest, I would have, if you had asked who do you want to get their head on it, probably would have said Dango, very good in the air. So he's unlucky. I think apart from that, Unal shot one good enough. Semenyo at the end wasn't good enough. I think Tav had one that went miles over the bar, not good enough. Yeah, the actual shooting was really poor, poor. So yeah, as you say, if the keeper's having a worldie, which he did against Arsenal, then you kind of go, keeper's having a worldie. But that wasn't the case.
I think with a few minutes to go on Sky Sports News, they had a stat on that Bournemouth had registered 8 shots in the second half, Leicester City 0, which is madness, really. As you look at the average positions, you can see how much Leicester were camped in their own half. The heat maps earlier demonstrated that as well. And AFC Bournemouth players, very advanced as well. The shape was expected, really. Kirkes playing the most advanced of the defensive line, almost level with Lewis, Cook and Christie. I think the final 3 subs all had an average position close to, or at least inside the final third, as AFC Bournemouth piled on the pressure, but it wasn't enough. Lewis Cook and Senesi had the joint most touches with 78. Cook and Tav had the joint most touches in the opposition half with 48. Tavernier had the most touches in the final third with 34. However, there are some conversations about Tavernier, and as Chris asks on Twitter, does Tav deserves the wrong word, but does he deserve to be dropped and Cine gets a start?
I think... Tav is the new scapegoat, as we see now on social media. There's always one. It's normally someone that's been here for a little bit of time, and he's earned it now. He's earned it now. It used to be Smith because it's never someone new. But Tav didn't have a good game. Semenyo was crap as well, by the way. But yes, Tav doesn't get the numbers in my opinion. I think he needs to get more. Now he's got one this season, but even last season I thought I like Tav, but I think you've got to be doing more. I think this drop thing. I think people don't listen to Andoni enough. Clearly, he says all the time, the subs are just as important. I don't play my best 11.
Well, exactly. That's the thing.
So if that's the case,
people think it's a preference thing.
And in terms of that, so off the bench, you're always looking for someone a bit explosive. I think Dango's great at that. I think Cine's great. Would Tav be someone that would be explosive off the bench? Not in my opinion. So I think, I'm surprised sometimes he stays on. I get that. I think this is what I was kind of said after the game, that Kluivert always seems to be the go-to. It could have easily been Tav for Dango. Tav won't have a good game either. I get you always keep Semenyo on because of, he's that goal threat. But I think it could have been Kluivert, it could have been Tav. I wouldn't have been bothered either way.
And also, he's selecting players that are best to unlock the opposition. And it shows with the amount of chances that we created during the game that we did unlock them.
We are. I do agree that Cine had a better game than Tav when Cine came on for sure. I think... Yeah, he did it against Southampton as well, where he said that I played Tav in that role and took Kluivert out because of the way they move, the way they play out would have suited Tav more, would suit Dango following the fullback, et cetera, et cetera. So he obviously looks into it by game by game basis. I think ultimately I quite think that Andoni Iraola is quite a good football coach.
I think he is.
Out of all of them, we've got a lot of attacking options that all change around. He plays Tav a lot. He seems to rely on Tav a lot.
So what does he have over his competition, as Ollie asks? What is it you think it is? Or is it merely a case of let's change the mindset of ourselves by thinking, okay, that player is starting, therefore Andoni thinks he's better than him? Because that's never the case, is it?
No, I don't think that's ever the case at all. No, and not at all. I don't think it's ever someone's better. I think it is game by game for sure. There's been games this season where he's just randomly gone, actually, we're going to play House instead of Senesi. I mean, not many teams do that, but he's obviously thought, with the build up. And this is what I'm saying about people. He mentioned this a lot. I also think, as I was alluding to there, there's a reason why Tav seems to be relied on more than others. And I think in football, I think he's more intelligent than people realise. I don't think he's not as good in one-on-one duels as Cine as Semenyo in particular. Kind of running at people and beating them and all that. The stuff that's better on the eye. Yeah. But I think he likes it because he goes, actually, he's more, I can move him inside. He's going to track the fullback better. I think he has better link up. And there's a reason why Andoni Iraola always goes to Tav. But he's having one of them moments at the moment where he's the one that everyone's saying should be dropped. I'd take him out for the odd game. I never think it's someone being dropped when it's Andoni. I do agree that in the last few games, I don't think Tav, particularly this one, I don't think Tav had a good game. And I really like Cine, and I do think I'm more, not necessarily Tav, I'm just thinking when we're talking about these goals, I think Cine, he's already scored when he come off against Everton. He scored everywhere he's been in his footballing career. I think Cine has got a goal threat. Yeah. So I think at times do we go, let's give him a bit of a go.
He's brilliant when you're chasing games, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But I also think Dango is. I would quite like to see a kind of, I think Tav he's done it against Southampton. Don't mind him in the 10. And I think he's offering more than Kluivert personally. But I'd quite like to see Cine and Semenyo up there, just because then I think you've got goals from both wide areas. But we've got loads of options there, mate. So it's a good place to be. And we'll mix it up. We'll mix it up in games as we always do.
In terms of some of the stats, Senesi attempted the most passes with 60. In the opposition half, Cook attempted the most with 29. Semenyo attempting the most in the final third with 15. In terms of pass completion rate, Evan Nilsson only had a 44% completion rate. Ches Designs asks, how best to play to Evan Nilsson's strengths. Quality player for Porto. We just need to unlock him. Do you think we really need to change the way we play to cater for his strengths at all? Or do you think what we're doing at the moment is right for him?
Yeah, I don't think it's change necessarily the way you play, but I think you start to learn, especially when you're centre forward, your focal point, you start to learn kind of how to get the best out of him. I remember, I went onto that stat from the start of last season. It took a little bit of a while, and then I felt like quite quickly, Senesi in particular worked out what runs Dom liked.
Yeah,
and I think you just get that. I think that just comes. I mean, he scored a few goals, but I think even Tottenham are trying to work that out with Dom at times. And I think that unfortunately does take a bit of time with your centre forward, learning kind of how best he wants the passes and how best to play to his strengths, as you say. I don't think we have to change our whole setup. I just think that, and a few little combinations will start working, and him and Semenyo say on that right will start linking up better, and it'll happen. And yeah, and I think it will work well in the end, mate. I think it took a little bit of time in any area, so for like Cook and Christie to get a bit more of understanding next to each other. I think that just happens with time, and hopefully it'll come, mate. I think it's too early to judge that one. But yeah, I'll just spin on a quick positive there, because you just said about the pass completion, and it didn't surprise me. I thought the only one that I thought, yeah, you were mustard was Zamani. At the back. He was absolutely, and it won't get spoken about because we lost 1-0 and we missed loads of chances, but Zappardi was absolutely immense at the back for me.
So it's interesting when we were seeing the team lineups. Yeah, no Phil Bill. And I think he would have been a better option to bring on than, say, David Brooks, who did come on. We don't know what's going on with him, nor does Ollie Windsor, who asked, what next for Phil Bill? Looked like he wasn't even in England for Leicester. If he wasn't going to be in the squad because he doesn't fit the style, surely we should have just moved him on in the summer. So, in fact, I seem to remember a fan cams with you maybe explaining your disappointment with one of his recent performances. Since then, he's never been named in the squad. Influencer over here.
Oh, I certainly wouldn't want that.
No.
But yeah, I know it was Chelsea that he randomly got chucked on. And then, but it wasn't the before. I was more disappointed that I noticed that he went straight down the tunnel. But yeah, I think what Ollie said there is, why didn't we just send him in the summer? The problem with trying to sell someone is someone's got a bid for him. But it's a personal opinion. I don't know anything. I don't feel like Phil Billing's really been in Andoni's plans. I don't think he suits him at all. He suited Gary Neal and Philip Billing. I think I said in that fan cabs, actually, I'll never, if he were to leave and were to play against him, I'd give him a little clap, because he helped save us, mate. He was brilliant for us at times. But in this system, I don't see a world where Phil Billing works. He can't press in that 10 role. He's just not used to it. And then playing him deeper, we all know he's not good enough at that role. Just don't think it suits him. I think the problem is, which I kind of get, after that, where we stayed up under Gary, he actually was our top goal scorer that season. He scored more than Dom. He got given a new deal. Understandably. And then Andoni comes in and it doesn't work. And now we've got him on a long deal. So he's sat there. I think he's probably, this is me speculating, a decent earner, especially with getting a new deal not that long ago. So then you go, well, what? Well, so teams would probably go, oh, well, we'll have him on loan for season, but we want you to pay a chunk of his wage, otherwise we might as well bloody keep him here.
Yeah.
So I think there's just an issue there where we can't get him off that wage bill. He isn't playing enough football for people to bid 20 odd million for him. So I think it's one of them where we'll probably try and find him a loan move if we can, and hope that he does, a bit like the Hamid Traoré one, hope that he does well enough that that team then wants to sign him. But at the moment, I just think we're in a situation where he's got a decent contract, he's probably on decent money, no one's going to be coming in for him, but he doesn't suit us. And maybe if it is a case, as Ollie kind of alluded to there, that he kind of knows we're happy to sell you if someone comes in, you might as well have someone that's more willing to stay at the club, or wants to stay at the club on the bench. Because really, you made the point there about Brooksy. No, I personally would rather have Brooks coming on than Billing every day of the week.
Right.
But we've got Hill and Howson on the bench. There's two centre back. We don't really need both of them. I don't really get having that. I would probably rather Aarons, actually, than having two centre backs. But then you go, surely it's better to have another attacking option. And Andoni is the type of manager that definitely would.
Yeah.
So there's something not right.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not even around, as Ollie said, something not right there. And to be honest, I don't know the guy. But if there's a case of, look, we're happy for you to go, but at the moment no one's coming for you, Everyone will know that. So do we need him around the place? Really, probably not. It's just a shame because we're obviously paying him a fair chunk.
So potential movement maybe for Philip Billing in January. Colin asked, do we need a backup for Unal and Evan Nilsson in January? Do you think we would get in a backup? I can't see it.
Imagine trying to sign a striker and convincing them to come to Bournemouth
when a third choice.
Because
and then you got Semenyo, Clivert, other players that can fill that role as well.
Tell me a club that ain't an absolute powerhouse that has 3 top strikers, natural strikers. They don't, mate. I mean, you look at Tottenham, obviously signed Solanke. If he's out, they move Son up front. Do you know what I mean? They don't really have him.
Charlison.
And we have got a third choice striker, and most of the time your third choice striker is out on loan, and ours is Daniel Jebison's out on loan.
Daniel Jebison.
And that's what happens. So yeah, I mean, recall him if we want. I doubt it. I think very unlikely. You'd be very bad luck to lose both your strikers to injury, and if we did, we would do what we did at Nottingham Forest and play Semenyo or Cini or Clivert up there, and we didn't lose that game either. So we're more than capable of coping, I think. Hopefully, them two will be fine. But I'm well happy with Evan Nilsson now. I think that's absolutely fine.
So match stats then, Bournemouth, of course, as you can see, shading the possession, 54% of it. Leicester didn't have a corner kick. We had 9.
No, that's mad. I didn't realise that.
Didn't have a corner. And the total passes, we had a lot of the ball, but we didn't do much with it.
Never want more of the ball, mate.
We Southampton in disguise. Player ratings, mate. We always do the who scored one to see statistically which one performed the best. This is a weird one because I've seen this stat and I know,
got it.
For what we thought of this player's performance, the stats will show you that it was a bit different.
Okay, so that's going to be... So I was going to say, I'll just say Zabadi there, but I reckon that's going to be someone because... You got to remember, when you make all the subs, people don't play as long either. So I wonder if you're alluding to the fact that Semenyo, because he probably took their player on a lot, had our shots and all that stuff.
He was up there with 7.4. After that, you got Lewis Cook on 7.3 there.
Two of the players that played 90 minutes.
Their main man, as you can see, was their goal scorer. So look, we are recording this on a Monday afternoon, so we are going to go through the latest tweets that we've missed, so we may be rehashing a few conversations, but this is a good point from Matt Fitzgerald. Are people expecting too much too soon? It took Brighton a lot of mid-table finishes before they made it to Europe. It's just about slow progression, isn't it?
I mean, we all joke around on it again, could we? But come on, it's everyone. I mean, we nearly went down not long ago. But
the thing is, though, it feels like we're under pressure because we don't know how long we've got Andoni for.
Yeah, maybe. But I think, listen, I know we look good and stuff, but we did lose our best player, and it does take a little bit of time. I think there was. I can't think of another word. This word always seems harsh, so I don't mean to say. I just can't think of another one. You went at Bournemouth school. I felt like going into the Leicester game. You're including this, by the way. Me and Steve were saying this. There was a little bit of arrogance from Bournemouth fans, thinking, "Oh, it's Leicester."
Misplaced optimism.
I like it. Misplaced optimism. In the fact that, Leicester are near the bottom, we'll just go away from home in the Premier League and beat them. It's an away game in the Premier League, by the way. This will be tight. And, Cooper will have them set up, and it only takes a minute. We're not a top, we're still a bottom half team at the moment. Yeah. I think it might be one of them things that maybe just puts our feet down on the ground for a little bit.
Maybe that's what we need.
Maybe, but we still created all the chances, man. I'm enjoying it. And as I said, I think I would be, it's just a personal point, it'd be very disingenuous for me to be kind of really up in arms at the moment because I said, obviously you want to stay in the league, but the players we've got, I just want to see football where I was going to games going, are we going to have a shot today?
Yeah.
So it'd be really disingenuous for me to then go, this ain't good enough. I think I just wanted to, as long as we stay in the league, which I'm confident we will, I just want to see exciting football, which we're getting.
But has Ben on this tweet got misplaced optimism too? Because he says, an observation, he says, but I hope the players don't lose motivation after what could be a very challenging October. Apart from Brentford away, I mean, that could be a challenge.
Brentford away, that's a well-hard game.
We've never won there, have we?
No.
Difficult to see where we may pick up points from before the next international break. I think we'll be very safe, but we need a strong end of the year. But players won't lose motivation. I mean, look, we had 9-10 games under Andoni without a win. And that must have been very, very difficult. But then things changed. Look, we know how we're playing now. I don't think motivation will be a problem.
No, and that changed with a win against Newcastle, who they're probably just about to play PSG or something at the time. Then went to Old Trafford and smashed them. So, and even under Gary, where it was really doom and gloom for, I don't know how we're staying up. We went to Tottenham, never won there. Smashed them. It's football's mad. Football is mad. They're very, very difficult fixtures coming up because people are talking about the next three, myself included. Then it's Brentford and Brighton. They're bloody difficult games. Then it's Wolves, so don't worry about it. But we've got really, really difficult games, but that's football, that's Premier League. I'm not going to start moaning about fixtures because that's what bloody other teams like Wolves do. So let's just see what happens.
Longy says, Baltimore AFCB, it seems like we almost show up more for the more difficult games. Is it?
What's a more difficult game? Because Southampton ain't.
Well, no, but a local derby,
Everton away, we were absolutely rubbish and we scored 3 goals. So we won that game, we were crap.
Well, he says perhaps it's related to being more comfortable with less of the ball.
I agree with that.
And bigger teams tend to have more of it.
Southampton always have more of the ball. They're not a big team. But yeah, I know what you mean. It tends to be that way. I think we did say in the preview, my concern is that Leicester will want us to have the ball. And we are better in transition. So yeah, maybe it's the perfect fixtures for us. Who knows? I'd put this now. We will not lose all of our next 3 games. We won't lose them all. We won't. We'll get something, trust me.
All right, okay. I'm going to ask this from Lucas. I'll give you 3 words to answer this. Was Foley too optimistic with how quickly he wants us in Europe?
Oh, what, I've got to do it in 3 words?
Yeah.
Was Foley too optimistic with how quickly he wants... What did he actually say? How many years did he say?
5, was it? Europe in 5 years.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, there you go. Jude, not sure whether this fits, but I'd love to be able to buy men's goalkeeper shirts with short sleeves. You know what? You're not the only person to have said that. They're available in women's sizes, but not men's. Something that we'll pass on to Cherries Trust for. How about that?
Recently, I don't know if Jude in particular or anyone else watches constantly, but I wore one of them recently, didn't I? The baby bluish one, and I looked for that in short and I couldn't. So I had the same problem. I don't mind it because I do this a lot anyway. So
surely, goalkeeper shirts is just another opportunity to market like another shirt, like the football fan. It's weird, like everyone always focuses on the home shirt, the away shirt, the third, but no one ever thinks they can make a real big thing out of goalkeeper shirts, and look, they can do about 2 or 3, can't they? Surely,
yeah. And
why not make a thing out of that?
And I just randomly I can't remember what I was getting, but I was on the website, and then I just went, oh bloody hell, the goalkeeper shirts are nice. Like, I didn't even realise. So that kind of goes to your point, but I really like that blue one. So yeah, I want one of the old school. Do you remember? It feels like when I was a kid, they were always green, a bit of black on the little pads and that. But I quite like it. But yeah, just get them in short sleeves.
Hey, Tommy Hefferner's Poodle Guy said, probably missed your deadline. No, you didn't, Tommy. It's all good. Tommy, I know your name's Guy. Why am I saying that? Time wasting by the referee. Do you remember this at the end? He says this here. He spoiled a pretty decent performance by continuing kicking the ball away from Senesi at the end. Do you remember that?
Oh,
we had a free kick and then he kicked it away.
Yeah, no,
Very bizarre.
I do vaguely remember that. Unfortunately, this is football in general. I don't think it's ever going to I mean, if we're winning 1-0 away from home, and Kepa, who's obviously our keeper at the moment, it's taking ages. And they'll go, we would go, go on, Kepa, take your time. When it's the reverse, you're like, ref! And it does do my head in. It's one of my most, and I've got a few, bugbears, is that as soon as a keeper, because quite often they get booked for time wasted. Yeah. As soon as they get booked, that's it, they can keep doing it. Because they never, have you ever seen a goalkeeper get 2 yellows for the time wasted?
You don't, no.
So they just keep doing it. So time wasted in general is always going to happen, unfortunately. And I'm sure we'll have to do it when we're beating Arsenal in a couple of weeks. Who
knows? And finally, Simon says, the press must always be consistent. If you're committed to it, you must stick to it unless there is a clear tactical change. And I don't think our press was that effective in the first half, but in the second, it was a lot better. We did pen them in and we were winning more of the ball back, but just couldn't put it in the back of the net. So, in a word, are you concerned?
No.
There you are then. It's fine.
What about?
If Tom says it, it's all good.
What would you say is concerning though? This is what I think people are concerned that we might not get Europe.
Oh no.
Are you talking about relegation?
No.
Well, that's what I hear when I hear concern.
Oh, well, stop being I'm not at the minute. I'm just thinking solidifying improving on the previous season. I suppose that's the ultimate aim for me. I'm not worried about looking over my shoulder. Ultimately, it's a success to stay in the Premier League. So 17th, if we finish 17th, I'm happy. But
when you say progression, is that position in the league or points?
I would say it's
one or the other.
I would say it's points, yeah.
Oh, I'd probably say it's points.
I mean, we're up on points compared to last season at this stage. Big time.
I think there's a very good chance we'll get more points. I don't know where that'll leave you in the table because you never know. Because when we had 40, was it 49 before the 9th?
Yeah, we've got
That's
5
very
more,
rare to normally do.
We've got 5 more points at this stage than we did last season.
Yeah. Well,
and with a couple of games to go as well.
Yeah, true. But yeah, no. Do I think that we can finish higher in the league than last season? Yeah, probably. Do I think that we can get more points? Yeah, I think I would back that. Do I think we'll get Europe? No, but so let's. But I'll tell you what people haven't noticed yet, because it's too early to start talking about it. The way the English clubs have started in Europe, that coefficient's looking lovely. It's been a great start for the coefficient. So 8th might be a little cheeky one.
So we stayed in Leicester. Well, in Leicester, we stayed in Rugby. Which is 45 minutes from the King Power, because Mark Jackson, regular on the vlog, his daughter Lottie was christened on Sunday. So yeah, we went to that, mate. Oh, mate, you can't beat a bit of hymn singing
I'll tell you what,
on a Sunday.
Absolute bangers.
He's got the whole world in his hands. All things bright and beautiful.
I was trying to get like a Kepper in there for the whole world in his hands. Thought, could we work that with Kepper? I was basically just figuring out how we make a football song. But no, they were bangers. It was good. Actually, a little bit, Mark was giving us a lot of don't expect much from rugby. I thought it was all right for a little night out.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? And you know what was good? I'll put the video up of this now. They had the Premier League, all of the Premier League teams, they had flags for each and every Premier League team. Well, not all of them, apart from 3. And it was, like Southampton, yeah, expected. Ipswich, yeah, expected. But the other one, Palace.
Just randomly didn't they got something against them? I don't know. But they obviously wanted to get Leicester one up because I guess that's close, close.
Yeah. And also Bournemouth, obviously.
And they did have Rugby Town as well up there which was nice. But yeah, I thought I didn't think it was too bad. It was a good laugh if you stay out all night, if you've got that stamina to stay out all night.
And did you do a drunken message on the Telegram group or anything
absolutely.
like that? Probably. If you want to get on that, by the way, so Telegram's basically like WhatsApp. You know what? I haven't even looked at it. Did you do player ratings?
Yes. Well, you haven't watched it yet?
No, I haven't. When did you do that?
I think I did it this morning. Yeah.
Oh, did you do it this morning? Okay.
Yeah, because we got back, didn't we? After. Yeah. I'm to be honest, you know when you're not like really tired, but your eyes hurt. That's how I feel since I think I got in about. 3, and then we had to get up for Kristen. I'm sharing a room with Steve Ensman. So I
was about to say, how are you going to do the player ratings with that noise in the background whilst you're sleeping? But if you want to get on that, afcbpodcast.com/coffee. Your financial support really helps us to keep the channel growing and going as well. So thank you so much. But we try to repay you as much as we can with first looks. The odd blooper, but there haven't been many of them. There were a couple at the start of this recording. So
who done them?
Me.
We do appreciate all of that.
Thanks for your support.
Good group on there, isn't it? So it's all good. But now, get excited. It's the international break. So we'll be playing like Greece and Finland and
Greece on Thursday, Finland on Sunday.
Yeah, 1-0 Hurricane Pan.
Probably.
No, I can't wait for it.
Probably.
Carsley ball, we're fine now.
Yeah, but Arsenal is the one, and that's another TV game. Still haven't played a home 3 p.m. fixture, mate.
At least
we got to wait till November for that, haven't we, or something?
City, yeah. But yeah, also not easy fixture. They haven't lost yet, have they? Have they lost yet? No, they haven't lost yet. So they're due one.
Yeah,
good week.
Is it still West Ham in the league? Has still not played outside London yet?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Absolutely not.
Have we beat Arsenal at home before? Yes, we have. Come on, we beat Arsenal with Jordan Ibe.
It could.
Yeah, they were crap at the time, but come on.
Thanks for watching if you've been absorbing this on YouTube, and thanks for listening as well if you've been on the audio pod. You can leave us a review. It would be so helpful if you could, because we're trying to boost our podcast numbers. But also on YouTube, you could do us a couple of favours.
Oh yeah, click the like, click the bell, click the subscribe. I know you forgot then. Click that subscribe button as well. Yeah, it's all good. We're still going the right direction. We're on the 18 now, aren't we? Which you mentioned. So let's get up to 20 soon. Get up to 20.
Other chairs, and we'll see you in the next one. You Eds.
Go on, England. Yeah, it's going to be so exciting.
That's it, John.
Glad you didn't mention I got Vindaloo out on. I'm just getting the spirit.